What's up, people? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, give me a comment. What's up, people? If you can hear me, if my audio is okay, just let me know in the chat. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Spartans in the house. Awesome. Looks like the complete, hopefully the complete Bravo batches here. Game Boy, Prince Johnson, Somdatta, Mayur, Sabri Srinivas, Chetana, Game Boy, Lomas, lots and lots of Spartans. Yeah, well, this is basically kind of like this is basically a class for the Spartans, and everyone else is invited. So, hello, everyone. Do let me know where you guys are from. I can see some new faces. I can see some Spartans. I can see Sankalp. I can see Blended Nice, Tejas Chichkar, Veer Babu, Dead Sek comes to town. Good to see you guys. All right. So today's class is about game design documentation. All right. And we are going to get started right away. Let me know where you guys are from, which part of India you guys are from, which part of the city, which part of the country or the world you are. The second thing I will say is that um, I have the Game to make a Discord server. So in case the internet goes out or something happens, you have there's a backup, and there can be messages passed back and forth. So please make sure that you guys join the Game to make a Discord server. The link is in the description of this video. Also, you also have the Instagram. So I'm on Instagram. I post very frequently tips, tricks, hacks. If you want to know what's going on, when the batches are opening, all that stuff is available on Instagram. So make sure that you follow me on Instagram. So once again, guys, reminder to everyone before we start, make sure you're on Discord. So if something goes wrong, we can kind of like we can communicate there. Some internet issues, also make sure that you follow me on Instagram. All right, so let's get started. Without further ado, I'm going to now share my screen. Okay, give me a second. Okay. All right, so this kind of gets a little irritating sometimes. All right, let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay, yeah, you can. Yes, give me a yes. All right, awesome. If you can, let's do this, people. Game design documentation masterclass. All right, so this is going to be epic because this is something I only teach the Spartans, and this is essentially for the Spartans. But this is, I've decided to open it up for everyone. Guys, game design documentation is incredibly important because what it does is that it helps you to get a job. The most important function of a game design document is obviously to make sure that the game is made properly, but it is an absolutely amazing tool to get a job. The first job I ever got as game designer at Game Loft. So it's an interesting story. I was in Vancouver at the time. Okay, I was sitting in Vancouver, and I needed to move back to India. And essentially, at that point, I had I had an interview set up with Gameloft. Gameloft found me on, I don't know, Naukri.com, and they are like, "Hey, can we interview you?" And I was like, "Sure." And I had a couple of interviews, and they asked me to make a game design document for some random fictitious game, and I made it, and they loved it, and I got a job. I got a job in India, in Hyderabad, sitting in Vancouver. Okay, most people want to go from Hyderabad to Vancouver. I actually was sat in Vancouver and I got a job in Hyderabad. So I went kind of the other way, and it was all through a game design document, right? So, what are we going to be doing? We're going to talk about the following in today's masterclass, and not in this particular order. We're going to talk about why it's important to create a great game design document. We are going to talk about some fundamental principles of making good GDDs. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of GDDs with you. I'm going to be showing you game design documents. I'm going to be showing you concept documents. We're going to go over these game design documents that that I have made. We're going to go through them in great detail, right? And I'm going to show you all that stuff. Then I'm going to tell you some tips and hacks to making a concise and detailed document. And I'm also going to be telling you about the do's and don'ts of making game design documentation. So this is something which this is not like bookish knowledge, right? This is stuff I have learned in about 14 years of making games. When I went to Vancouver Film School, the most important thing in the game design course there was making a game design document. And the game design document that I made in Vancouver Film School, I'm going to share that with you guys. We're going to go over it in great detail. I'm going to show that to you, right? It's like a pretty epic document. Okay. You guys are going to get to see it now. Okay. And of course, we're going to talk about the different kinds of game design documentation. There's actually 2 or 3 different kinds of game design documentation, and I'm going to be showing you all that stuff. Okay. So, are you guys ready? Let's do this. Okay, so how are game design documents born? Where do they come from? They come from concept documents. So, a concept document is kind of like a mini version of a game design document. The way it works is that a concept document is a very, very brief document. And so, for example, what we do in Gamer to Maker is that we come up, everybody in the batch in the game design course comes up with concept documents, and they don't come up with one, they come up with 3 concept documents, right? I'll show you what a concept document looks like. So on we have 3 concept documents which each person makes. We pitch them, and then we select one from these 3 concept documents. Concept document is a very brief document, and it is basically from the concept document you extend it, you expand it, you describe it, that game in much more detail, and from that a game design document is born. So a concept document is basically the progenitor or the father of the game design document, but it's a very small father. I know that's weird, but like I'll show you how that happens shortly. Okay. um all right, so let's talk about concept document and game design document. Some of you guys might be confused. Rahul, what's a concept document and what's the difference between a concept document and a game design document? Firstly, a concept document is only 1 or 2 pages, right? A game design document is many pages, right? The one I'm going to show you is actually 51 pages. Next, a concept document is a very high level description of the game, and the game design document is a very detailed document that has lots and lots of details about the game, as you guys will see very shortly. Right, the concept document, what's the use of a concept document? The concept document is basically used for pitching. If you're going to tell someone about your game idea, maybe you're looking for investors, maybe you're looking for someone to team up with, or maybe you're in Gamer to Maker and you are saying, hey, what kind of game should we make? Or you're working in a company and there you have 3 4 5 different game ideas, and for each game idea you have a concept document. You can use it for pitching because you can read through a concept document in like 3 to 4 minutes at the very most. Okay, the game design document, on the other hand, is used as a guide for production, right? Is the production of the game happens with think of it as a textbook, think of it as the guide, think of it as a blueprint of the game, and the game is actually built by looking at the game design document. Okay, essentially in Gamer to Maker we have a principle of make 3 select 1. So we come up with 3 ideas, and then from we pitch those 3 ideas, and then we come up with one, and then we select one, and then we make a game design document, right? And the game design document, on the other hand, you make only one, and you have to keep changing it as it goes by. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that, I've talked about concept document, I've talked about game design document, and now I'm going to quickly show you what a concept document look like and what the game design document looks like. Okay, so give me a second. All right, so okay, let me have a look at the comments. Anybody has any? I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. So this is from a game I actually made. I made this game long ago. This is one of the first games I made myself. It was just kind of made as a kind of like as fun. It was a game called Star Miner, and this is the concept document. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now this is a concept document for a game called Star Miner. Right now, as you can see, guys, this is literally just one page. This is a one-page document, and what the document does is, let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit more. Doesn't look like it allows me to zoom. Okay, so as you guys can see over here, it's just a one-page document which you can read really quickly, and it has something called a high concept, right? A high concept is basically the complete idea of the game in just one or two sentences. You should be somebody who's reading a concept document should be able to just start, and within like 30 seconds should have a very good idea about what the game is. So this is a high concept. Star Miner is a free flyer similar to Free Runner for mobile devices where you play as an alien flying a ship in space, collecting gems of different shapes and colors. Right, and then there's a very brief description of the gameplay. So if, as you can see, it's purely what is the game, what do you do, the ship moves left to right, blah blah blah, the player needs to move the ship, etc. A very brief description that there are a couple of features. There's something called boosts, and then you have upgrades of just one single sentence. There's also just a short paragraph about art style. There is just one line about monetization, and there is one line about competitive analysis, guys. Okay, this is a concept document. This is a document you can actually make. Say, suppose in Gamer to Maker, we make several concept documents. So I'm going to actually show you one of the concept documents from Gamer to Maker. So this is, some of you guys may have seen this game. This is a concept document. There is a game right now. Some of you may have seen it called Arise, the game. Now, Arise, the game is going to be actually almost done next month. This is the concept document for that, right? It was started off. So what happens in Gamer to Maker is that everybody in Gamer to Maker comes up with a game idea, right? And they come up with their own concept document. And I give them feedback. I train them how to create a beautiful concept document. And then they pitch their game. They have an opportunity to go in front of the entire batch and say, this is my game. They make an elevator pitch. They pitch their game. And then we vote upon which game we are going to make. So this game, this was Nikhil. I don't know if Nikhil is here. If you're here, say hi, Nikhil. So this is Nikhil's game concept document, which was actually selected, and then this game actually got made. So that's how it works. So this, as you can see, high concept, gameplay, abilities, some really nice little screenshots. Of course, trust me, in the end, this game is completely different. It was not a side-scrolling game. This is actually a top-down game now. But there's a little bit about the art style, monetization, competitive analysis, and some beautiful links saying for some references over there, etc., etc. So this, as you guys can see, are concept documents. Okay, now concept documents are they seem quite easy to make, right? It's like, oh, it's just, but trust me, making a good concise concept document is quite hard because you have to explain the whole game. You have to say what's cool about the game in a very short time and in a very short space. So now a concept document, you can have 4 5 6 concept documents and most of them won't get made. Like in my folder, especially from VFS or something and my own games, I must have like 20 30 concept documents, but they just stayed at the concept. Right now, if a game actually gets selected, for production, if it gets greenlit for production, then what happens is that it goes into production. When it goes into pre-production, then an actual game design document is made. So similarly in Gamer to Maker, we have in my inbox right now, I have like 10, 20, 30 concept documents from people which didn't make it, and then 2, 3, 4 of those actually became games. So some of those concept documents are actually going to pass the test of being greenlit and then become actual game design document. So now what I'm going to do is, you guys have already seen the game design, the game concept document. It was called Star Miner, and then I actually made it. So this is the actual game design document for that game that I showed you. It's called Star Trail. It was released in 2012. If you search Star Trail for iOS or Star Trail for Android, you will actually be able to see it on YouTube. So this game actually got made. So as you can see, this is a game design document, and this is several pages. Now this is a simple game, guys. This is not a very complicated game. As you can see, this has revision history. This has a table of contents. This has a genre, platform, introduction, fiction, storyline, gameplay, and this is a much more detailed document. It has diagrams, it has tables. I'll show you all this stuff later, not to worry, but just to tell you that was a concept document, and from that concept document comes this game design document, which is quite detailed. Now this, like I said, this is not a very long document, because the game was actually a very simple game. It was a mobile game, so it's not very long, but still it has a lot of detail, right? This is the game flow diagram. This is the mock-up for the main screen. This was just made by me in Photoshop, and that's it, right? So hopefully now you guys understand, fundamentally there are two different types of documentation. There is a concept document, and then there is a game design document, right? It could be for the same game, but the game design document has a lot of detail. Okay, now let me get back to my slideshow. All right, here we are. So like I said, concept document versus game design document. These are the basic differences between the two. All right, next, let's talk about why a game design document is important. What's the purpose of a game design document? There are lots of people on the internet say, oh, you don't need a game design document, it's not important. I've made games without a game design document. Fine, it's possible you may have been working by yourself, or maybe one or two guys working, and maybe you made a game without a game design document. However, in the game industry, if you're going to get a job at a studio where there are 2, 3, 4, 5 people, you want to work in AAA, you want to work for Naughty Dog, you want to work for the big boys, everyone uses game design documents. Like, you would not think of building a skyscraper without a blueprint. Why would you thinking of building a game without a game design document? So essentially, now what you're looking on screen is, I probably showed this diagram in the last masterclass about a couple of months ago. Some of you may have seen it. Essentially, as you can see, it is the midpoint. It is a core of the game production. The build of the game comes from the game design document. The game designer makes a game design document. A game design document is referred to by the game programmer, by the game testers, and by the game artists, right? They know what to make by actually looking at the game design document. It is a blueprint, it is a plan. It tells them what they need to build in great detail, right? If there's no game design document, everything, all hell breaks loose. Nobody knows what to make. The programmer is just going to be making what in the hell they want. The testers will not know what the game should be like. The testers need to understand what what the game is supposed to be, so they can test it and say, okay, it is this or it is not. And of course, the artists need to also understand the game, the functionality of the game, the art of the game, etc. So at the core of every game is a game design document. Guys, if you ever hear on the internet, or you ever hear some random people saying, guys, game design document is not important, that is false. Please do not listen to them. Everybody in a game company, and I'm talking about like a serious game company, needs to refer to a game design document. They are very, very important. And I'll tell you one thing: if you're a game designer and if you know actually how to make a good game design document, man, you got a job. Okay, you got a job, and you're going to be very, very valuable, because people are going to love you, because people don't like making game design documents so much. Game designers like making game design documents, right? And everybody loves to refer to a nice game design document. Okay, now let's move on. Right, so now let's talk about some basic principles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some fundas, very easy to understand, and you have to remember these fundas whenever you are creating a game design document. Or actually any document, but particularly a game design document. And I have classified them as VCDC. I tried to make it ACDC, but it didn't work out, so the closest I could get was VCDC. Right, so what does VCDC stand for? The VCDC principles of making good game design documentation are: one, visual, right? Your document has to be visual. Next, concise. Your document has to be easy to read. People should not go to sleep. They should not be bored. They should find the information they want very, very easily. It needs to be concise. You cannot write a Mahabharat, you cannot write a novel. It has to be brief, it has to be well written. Okay. Next, it has to be detailed. Everything has to be there. Everything about the game, the functionality has to be in that document. Now, there's a lot of detail. Now, the more complicated the game you're going to make, the more detailed the game design document is going to be, right? And then customized. Every game design document is unique. And I'm going to talk about each one of these specifically now. Okay. All right. So, first one, make your document visual. Nobody likes a wall of text. Always have screen mockups. So, a screen mockup is something that, as a game designer, you need to know Photoshop, right? Like, or GIMP or whatever it is. Make sure that instead of talking about things, about how it's going to look, make a mockup for your screen. This is the main screen of Star Trail. I did it in Photoshop. I got a planet, I got some random spaceship from the internet, I got some random diamonds here and there, I created some stuff, and all the elements of the game are here. I have levels, I have the score, I have the power. Of course, it changed a lot, right? It changed a lot. If you see the final game, it's like it looks very, very different from this, especially the user interface. But this was the basis. This is the mock-up that went inside the documentation, right? Next, have things like flowcharts, right? As to how the game is going to be, what the screens are going to be. This is very, very important. If you learn how to make some nice flowcharts, the programmers are going to love you. The artists are going to love you, because they know what screens to make. They know how the flow of the game is going to be. It really, really helps the programmers and the other people in the team if you give them a nice flowchart. And also screenshots are awesome, right? Screenshots from other random games which you think are going to help you, put them inside your document, right? That's the first principle, which is visual. The next principle is concise. Choose your words very, very carefully, right? Let it be short, let it be meaningful. Right, now the key is that you have to, the first time you write a document, it may be too long. It will not, maybe it will definitely be too long. Okay, you're going to write like 10 sentences, and then you need to read that and then say, okay, I don't need to use this sentence. I can make this sentence shorter. I'm repeating myself. Let me make it shorter. Let me make it shorter. Let me make it shorter. And then you basically have to use the least number of words possible to describe something. Okay, so use bullet points. Like, nobody likes gigantic paragraphs of text. Okay, use bullet points, use small paragraphs. I'll show you in my game design doc right after this. Always insert pictures, insert diagrams, insert charts instead of text. Don't just write stuff. Okay, as far as possible, substitute words for pictures and diagrams, right? And it's very, very important that you choose a readable font. Don't just have this fancy font that it looks beautiful but doesn't work. Okay, you people should be able, it should be pleasant on the eye. It's not that, like, after 5 minutes you get you get a headache. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Okay, so next one, detail. Okay, it's all about detail. Now, the fundamental principle that I like telling, if you're a game designer, act like you're going, imagine if you got kidnapped. Okay, imagine if you just disappeared, and only you knew what the game was about, and you disappeared for the entire production. The team should be able to make the game exactly the way it is in your head. Okay, that is why you have to have a lot of detail, and I'm going to kind of show you that. Okay, a very, very here's kind of like a hack. Okay, and if you want to be a designer, if you want to be a game designer, this is a really nice hack. You have to do a mental walkthrough of the game. It means that, don't be like at a high level thinking, oh, there's going to be combat in this game, then I'm going to be combating monsters. No, think about what happens from moment to moment. Think, okay, I'm going to spawn, and then the next moment I'm going to start walking, and there's going to be an obstruction, and then there's going to be an enemy, and I'm going to press a space bar, and a bullet is going to come out, and then and the enemy is going to die, and then he's going to shoot at me. Another enemy is going to come, he's going to shoot at me, and I'm going to press this, and I'm going to jump, and then I'm going to dodge him, and I'm going to rush him and like bash his head in. So from moment to moment, do a mental walkthrough of the game, because that will allow you to write about the gameplay in great depth. If you don't do a mental walkthrough of the game, you're going to miss out a lot of details, right? Now, put in pi numbers. Now, what is pi? Pi is something that is my own term called pre-iteration estimate. Okay, it's called pre-iteration estimate. I'll show you this in the document that I'm going to share. So you have to put approximate numbers in for things. Next, you have to keep adding detail. Guys, don't think that the game design document is something that you're going to create once and then that's it. You're going to put it, share it with everybody, and that's the end of it. No, a game design document is a living, breathing thing that needs to keep changing, because as your game develops, as you build your game, a lot is going to change. And that stuff has to be going into the game design document. Always update the revision history, because revision history is basically what has changed, right? If a programmer reads the game design document, right? If the programmer reads the game design document, they are going to be like, okay, this is what's supposed to be made. And if you make a change, they're not going to know that that thing has changed. So the revision history is going to say, okay, this has changed at this state, etc., etc. Okay. All right. Next, ACD. No, I forgot the acronym, but the last one is customize. Now, every game design document has to be customized for the game that is being made and the team. Every game is different, every team is different, which is why I actually don't like to give templates to people. Templates make people lazy. At Vancouver Film School, they refuse to give us templates. They're like, no templates, you have to make this from scratch. Okay. Because if you have templates, it's possible you're going to miss stuff out. A game design document should be customized for every single game. If you want to be a world class game designer, you should be able to create a game design document from scratch without any template. Right? That's what it's really about. Now, why does it have to be customized? It has to be customized because every team is different, right? People understand things differently, right? Now, I'm going to show you a game design document which is going to look really beautiful, but that's not necessarily the most useful one. Okay. Now, I've seen some game design documents which look really ugly, right? Which are not beautiful and have awesome like formatting and beautiful fonts and everything, but they really work well. Okay. A nice, beautiful game design doc is nice to have. It's pleasant on the eyes, but it's more important that the information should be there rather than how beautiful it looks, right? Now, because it should be customized, because people are going to learn differently, right? It's possible you work with a programmer or a designer or an artist, and they understand, they absorb information in a different way. So you have to make sure that your game design document is suitable for them. Like if you have something that looks beautiful and gorgeous, but your team doesn't understand it, it's completely useless. So show your game design document to your team, to the programmers. And if the programmer says, dude, like I'm not understanding this, can you explain it in a different way? Then you'll have to change it. You'll have to customize it. Okay. Lastly, as I mentioned, templates may not be the best idea to follow. You should be able to build a game design document from scratch. Okay. Now, what to put into a GDD? Everything. Everything. Okay. A game design document is a very, very detailed document, guys. I'm not going to lie. For a game designer, your work your work is going to be mostly before the game production even starts. Like a game designer, 50% of a game designer's work is going to be done before the game production starts, because you're going to be basically writing the documentation, right? And now, without further ado, what I'm going to be doing is, let me have a look at the chat now. It's been a while. And then I'm going to share the document. Okay. So, hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Any questions? Shravan is asking, can the visual part of the GTD be included in the concept document as well? You can have some visualization in the concept document, but remember, the concept document can't be too long. You can have just maybe one screenshot or something. If it's kind of complicated, right? If it's something complicated, you can put it there. Okay. Yes. Visual, as in it can be diagrams, it could be pictures. Okay. Um, all right, cool. So, are you guys ready to see the game design document, the big one? Somebody's asking, is GDD a game design document needs updation through game production? Yes, the game design document is like a live breathing thing throughout the production of the game. As you're making the game is going to keep changing, because you're going to drop features, add features, modify features, art, everything is going to keep changing, and you have to keep working on the game design documentation all the time, all the time. Hey, Nikhil is here, the author of, that's Nikhil right here, guys. Nikhil is an intern. He's a level designer, and he is the author of that awesome concept document that you just saw. Right. All right. So I'm going to start. Are you guys ready? So this is a game design document, guys, that I made at Vancouver Film School. It's and I love it. I spent like 3 months making this. I must have spent hundreds of hours on this. As you can see, okay, the date is for today, but this is actually around 12 to 13 years ago that I made this. But it's still awesome, right? It is a game concept that I came up with. It is Pulkit, dude, you're asking for are you the one who's asking for graphic design? This is gay. I'm talking about game design. You should go to a graphic design class if you want to know about game design. All right. Next up. So this is a game called Karma. I'm the master of my fate. That's a tagline of this game. Right? Now, As you can see, this is the this is the this is just the, like, we haven't even reached the game. This is just the table of contents, right? This is just table of contents. It's and you can It's quite good because you can actually click on each one of them and you can actually go to that page. Trust me, if you have a game design document that has that has 50 pages, you actually need to have a clickable menu. Okay, so this is the table of contents. It's still the table of contents, right? Slide 3. Next, design history. Now, the interesting thing is, if you make a GDD on Google Drive, then you don't have to make a design history, because Google is awesome. On Google, you can see what changes were made. It's awesome, right? If you're making a Google Doc for your game design, you can actually you don't need to have design history. But design history is really useful, because what happens is that if someone is referring to the game like a programmer and you make changes, like you change something, they can actually go and see, okay, that this thing that I'm making, the specification has actually changed, right? Now somebody's asking, Abhinay is asking, how much time should it take to finish a game design document? It depends upon the game. A game design document for a game like Uncharted would take months, right? It would take 5 designers 5 months to write a game design document like that. However, if you yes, this is made to look old specifically on purpose, because it's a, yeah, it's a stylized thing. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. This is the version history. And now let's get in. So this is a game overview. So this is basically a place where I have now, remember guys, this is a this is a massive game. It never got made, but it was a concept which we had to write for a really really big massive RPG. So this is a very very detailed game design document. It doesn't, if you're making like a free runner or you're making like a top down simple game, you don't have to go so much in detail. But I'm showing you everything. Like if you're working for AAA, this is what you guys would do, right? Yes, multiple game designers can work on a single game. So game overview, this is where I've written the high concept, and a little bit about the word karma. So this is basically kind of like a philosophical understanding of what the game is. You can put some common questions. What is the game? Why create this game? Where does the game take place? What do I control? How many characters do I control? What are the goals, objectives of this game, right? And I've actually written all these things down here. What is the main focus? And basically, kind of like overview of the game, right? Next up, feature set. Now, this is a game in which there are a lot of features. It's a very feature rich game. Obviously, I didn't have to make it. I just had to make a game design document, so I could actually go crazy. I could go wild. Now, here I've given highlights, right? So here, what I've done is I've just described the highlights of the features: survival, armed combat, attributes. Just a very very brief, kind of like a very very brief description of each. And then from feature set, I go into feature details, right? So for example, here I've written I've written attributes is number 3. Here what I'm doing is I'm actually describing each attribute in great detail. So the player has the following attributes: health. Now, if you say health, my player has health, you have to explain that in insane detail as to what exactly health means, right? So health is a value from 0 to 100 with a possibility of up to 50 bonus health points, right? The things that affect health are starvation, is illness, and hit damage. Food plays a pivotal role. So here you can see your attribute, your health comes from food. So I've actually given an example of some food items like bread small, bread large, cheese, and yak fat cake. And I've actually given a value. I've actually given a calorific value for each one of these bread items. Now, what you see here, these numbers, this is a what I call a PIE. It's called a pre-iteration estimate. It means that when you're making a game design document, you're going to actually put some values inside which are not tested. Okay, it's possible that it's wrong. It's possible that when you're actually building the game, it's not going to be 200. You're going to change it 300 or 400, but you have to put in a number to start with, right? That number is probably going to change after iteration. You have to put in a PIE. You have to put in a pre-iteration estimate of a number in your game design document, right? But don't be like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be. Put in the number. It's probably going to change, but you still have to put in the number. Okay, next up. So as you can see, I'm still on food. Like this entire page here is, I'm still talking about health attributes, right? I'm talking about food. Now, see, this is the part where to be a world class game designer, you have to think. Not only do you have to think, your imagination has to not just be imagining, oh, there's going to be health. You have to really narrow it down and you have to focus and you have to be okay, what exactly does health mean? What does it mean in the game, right? How do you get it? Can you get it from an NPC? What is the procedure to get it from the NPC? Do you have to pay money for it? Do you have to pay money for food? Everything about health needs to be explained. Then you can get cured with herbs. What kind of herbs do you have? How do herbs work? Don't just be like, oh, you can get cured by herbs. No, you have to describe the damned herbs. How many herbs are there? What is, how much value do you get from the herbs? Can you upgrade the herbs? Right? Um yeah, I'm still on herbs here, right? It's super great. Okay, now I've come to the next one, which is wealth. Right now, I'm saying the currency of the game is Canucks, and wealth items has a specific Canuck value, etc., etc. Now I'm describing. So remember when I said describe, be descriptive. This is the kind of level that I'm talking about. This is how descriptive you have to be, right? um there's going to be coins, there's going to be a bronze coin is going to have so much value, etc., etc., etc. Okay, again, really descriptive. Then here you go, now I'm talking about how it works. How do you actually pay? How do you get money, right? So I've implemented a UI here. I've made a mock-up for a UI here in which I'm talking about how you pay, how do you give money, how do you get money, because somebody has to implement that, right? It's not just it's no use saying, okay, you have money, you can give the money. How is it going to look in the UI? Right? Where is the money going to be in the user interface? How, if there's an NPC, how do you give them money? Do you drag and drop? What value goes up? So all this stuff, a game designer's job is not just to be like, oh, you can give money. What is the exact procedure, the user interface, the flow, the player journey for each and every interaction in the game? It's like, it's insanely detailed. All right. Once again, I have something called Maya. So here I'm explaining Maya, right? So I'm going to kind of speed through this because I'm explaining each and every darn thing in great detail. Now, for example, here I have wisdom. If you, as you know more things, you're going to become more wise. As you become more wise, you're going, there's going to be a glow around you. Maybe you guys can't see it, but there's this girl. She has a green glow around her. So obviously in the game, if you have a more, the green glow is stronger, you're wiser, right? And then I here I'm discussing the mechanic of karma, how it works. I'm actually giving numbers for it. Here, this game, the idea was that the original game, it was kind of based on the chakras. So here I'm describing them. I made another mock-up over here, etc., etc. So as you can see, also you guys can see, it's not just a wall of text. I have a diagram, I have a table, I have text. If it's just a wall of text, it gets very difficult to read, right? And here I've got more tables, more details. I'm just talking about the features here, guys. I'm describing them in insane detail, and that is pretty much um these screenshots, I just found them from the internet, right? Yeah, I think they're, I'm not sure which game. I think they're from Fable. I think they were from Fable. It was 20, 10, 12 years ago, right? um so now I'm getting into armed combat. Now I'm describing armed combat. They're going to be different mode. There's going to be a conflict mode, there's going to be a ranged mode, there's going to be a melee mode, and there's going to be another mode with 3D camera. So I'm not just talking about it, I have a screenshot. So I've taken a screenshot from some random game on the internet, and I've actually put in to describe how that looks. Okay. So yeah. Um there you go. Another one. So this is a map, right? Also, you need to kind of have maps of your game world. So the basis of your level design is actually going to come from here. So here I have kind of like the first level. I have a rough map in which I've described what's going to happen, right? And then all the features. I have a mini map, death, what happens if you die. There's actually reincarnation in the game, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm describing that in great detail, what happens if you die. And then there's a detailed walkthrough. Now the detailed walkthrough is very, very, very important, right? What happens in the game? So the game starts as cinematic, etc., etc. um so the detailed walkthrough describes what actually happens in the game. At least you don't have to describe the whole game. You can kind of describe one level so that the person understands exactly what the flow of the game is going to be. Guys, I'm on slide 27. Okay, as you can see. So once again, I'm describing the dialogue. I'm describing how the conversations happen. I have a basic conversation tree here, etc. And now I have some NPCs. So I have some reference images for NPCs, which obviously I haven't made. I've just got them. There's actually Ravan and there's a Yeti. I know, what was I smoking, right? So there's all kinds of crazy enemies and NPCs in there. So they all there's a boss there, and then there is the camera. The beat chart is not here. The beat chart is also a very, very important thing, which is a part of level design, which I probably discuss at some other masterclass. Camera. So this is the camera. There's one section which specifically talks about how the camera works, and then I'm describing the game world, overview of the game world, some references, etc., etc., etc. Now, here is where I talk about the characters. I talk about these are some reference images of the characters. As you can see, this is the main character, this is his brother, etc. This is the king, there's another guy, and then this is probably the stuff, right? This stuff, I think, was not in this one. It's a separate one in which I'm describing the vehicles and the weapons, right? But these headings are there, but they're not actually filled in. And then you have the user interface. Obviously, this is how you're going to play the game, right? So you describe the controls over here, and this is, of course, the game interface menu, etc., etc., etc. This is the main menu screen, etc. So I'm going to stop now, right? I'm going to stop now because, like, right. Okay, so that was a crazy, complicated game design document, right? A lot of you are going to be scared looking at it, but now if you that's what a triple A game design document looks like. That one was 50 pages. A game design document can easily go like 100 pages, right? Now obviously, it's not going to be made by one person. It's going to be made by a team of designers. So it's possible that on a game which is huge, like an open world game, you have 5, 10, 15 designers on that game, right? And each designer contributes a little bit. So there's going to be a lead designer who's going to actually supervise the game design document, and there are actually going to be other people um, working on it. So let me see if I can answer some questions now. Okay. Obviously, for Shravan, for an open world game, it is going to be a really, really, really big game design document. It's going to be hundreds of pages, hundreds of pages. Okay. All right. Uh, Suryansh, do we also talk about how a tutorial system will be deployed in the game while designing a GDD? The tutorial, normally you don't put the tutorial in. The tutorial is actually done while you're actually building the game. I don't normally see tutorials put into yeah, into the thing. Happy Guru Purnima, Pal Sahib ji, a very very happy Guru Purnima to you also. It's a very very um, auspicious day. Somdata is asking, is it normal to miss out on some specific? Oh, absolutely. Trust me. Like you're gonna forget so many things, right? There's gonna be so much stuff that you're going to miss out, and then when you're building the game, like, oh, I need to put this in. I need to put this in. There's a lot of stuff. You're going to miss many, 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 many things, and you have to keep adding them later. That's absolutely normal because, like, there's no way you can imagine that much stuff. It's not possible for the human mind to imagine each and every, and it depends on how complicated your game is. Like if you're making a more complex game, the possible scenarios that you can think of are many many many, and you will not be able to think of them, and you'll have to keep adding to it. Okay. um if GDD goes beyond 100 pages, then how is it concise? If you have a game which is a gigantic game, you're going to need a 100-page game design document, right? It's not a matter of concise. If it was not concise, it would have been 200 pages, right? So that's what it means. Okay. Um, yes, exactly. As Nikhil says, being concise is a way of saying anyone who reads this, right, right. Okay. All right. So let us. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you. I'm going to show you the Start Rail game design doc once again, right? Because this was much simpler. This was much simpler. So again, this was, as you can see, simple revision history, simple table of contents, right? And then you have basic description of genre, platform, engine, introduction, fiction, storyline. This is at a very very simple. Now if you have a game with a complicated story, obviously you're going to have an entire appendix talking about the story, right? This game didn't have much of a story. It was very very brief, so there's just one paragraph talking about the story, and then I'm describing the gameplay. There are several object classes. There are different colors of objects. I'm describing those. I have You can pick up objects and actually get point combos. So here I describe those. I have a simple mock-up that I made of a power-up. I have some points which you can get, which I've kind of described. You can see over here I've written PIE, right? Pi. Don't ask people about the word pie. They'll just give you something to eat. Pie is something that I've coined myself for my students. So pre-iteration estimate. Like don't go. So if you use the word pie to other people, they're going to be like, "Dude, what kind of pie? Apple pie?" Um, Okay, so here once again, as you can see, I'm kind of describing what I need to describe. So as you can see, this is a simple game, and this is a 6-page game design document. And this game actually got made. This game actually was released on Apple. It was released on Android many many years ago. So this game actually got made. Okay, so now what I'm gonna kind of go back to my slideshow now. Okay, where is my? All right, so now we have a little bit of time left, and I'm going to kind of talk about actually using a game design document. Okay, how it is used, how you're going to share it. Give me a second. Okay, there we are. Okay, so sharing and teamwork. Now it's nice to have a game design document that you guys are going to make, but the whole point of a game design document is that you should be able to share it with the people. You should be able to share it with your team. And more often than not, what happens in today's world is that the game design document is not going to be like a physical thing which is printed and then everybody has a copy. Like that is so 1980, right? The game design document is going to be online. It's going to be a document that everybody is going to be referring to. It's going to be a virtual document. Like it's not going to be a hard copy. All right. And as you guys have noticed, this document keeps changing. Like it's going to be one, and there's going to be a revision, and things are going to change. It's possible that at the end 80% of the game design document has changed. So everybody needs, it's very, very important to choose the right platform and know how to share a game design document with people, right? Remember, every game is different, every team is different. So you have to be creative when it comes to where you create it, how you share it, right? The one thing I will say is Google Docs are awesome, right? It is such a boon to have Google Docs these days to make video games, guys, because it's easily accessible. Like you can put pictures, you can put references, and the most amazing thing is you can actually have comments, right? It's so cool that you can create a document and you can actually have a live discussion with someone in which the designer can write a document and the programmer can actually put a comment there and be like, hey, how does this work? Or two designers can put something and they can have a discussion over there where they're talking about what it is, and they can actually come to a conclusion and everybody can actually see that. So, Google Documents are a gift from God when it comes to game design. All right. If you're going to make your game design document as a Google Doc, that's totally the way to go. Because also, the cool thing is people can actually see the changes that were made, they can see the revisions, right? The programmers, if you're referring the Google Doc, they can actually see the revisions that were made. So Google Docs are absolutely fantastic, right? There's also something called Miro. I actually shared a reel on it in my Instagram. So once again, a reminder, guys, make sure all of you follow me on Insta because I keep sharing stuff like this. We use Miro for our game Mayu, and it's an absolutely amazing place to actually share stuff, come up with ideas, discuss them, post references. So your game design document should be done in kind of in along with something else like Miro, and also use Trello. Trello is a great place for project. Trello is a great app, website, etc., whatever, which you can use for project management. These are docs that I use, my team uses, and this is like stuff that game makers who collaborate use, right? And or just Google Sheets, right? If you don't want to use something fancy like Trello for your project management, you can also use Google Sheets. In Gamer to Maker, I like to do my project management doing something like pretty very simple, and we actually use Google Sheets, which is much easier, which is actually much easier to do. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, guys, I'm gonna show you how we actually do I'm gonna show you how we actually do this stuff in Gamer to Maker, so you'll have an idea of how it's done. So what we do is um, I'm gonna open a document I have. Just give me a second. So now I'm gonna show you what uh, the game design course looks like and how we do the documentation. All right, let's share this. Ah, where's my window? Oh, there you are. So in Game Maker, we have some teams which are at this point actually making games, actually building our games. So one second. Sorry, chaps. Okay. All these windows are confusing the hell out of me. Sorry, guys. Let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. So this is inside. This is inside G2M. So essentially, this is like what the Spartans of the course are going to see. So essentially, we have module 1, introduction, basic concepts, and game design 101. And this is where you actually start building your game. This is game creative strategy. So what happens is that this is where you learn through videos and masterclasses and through the Zoom calls as to how to scope a game. Here is where you can see you have a concept document template, you have a pre-production worksheet, you have a research. I actually have some cheat sheets in here as well to help you with your game. So here you have the game design document. So the game design document template is something that everybody downloads, and then I'll show you what the game design document template looks like. And then you actually have each heading which is explained. So you have gameplay and progression. So what you do is you actually watch the video on gameplay and progression, and then you fill in the part of the game design document that actually has to do with gameplay and progression. Then when you're doing your difficulty for your game, you're going to watch the video, and then you're actually going to fill up your difficulty. And this is for the Spartans of the Bravo batch who are actually doing their documentation right now. This is what I want you to do, guys. When you're filling in your sheets, you're actually going to be watching these specific videos and actually filling in your sheets, because it's going to tell you how to plan and how to design your game. When you are doing story and narrative, when you're doing your character design, when you're planning your game world. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share another one, which is the actual template. Okay, just a second. Okay, if you guys can see, essentially this is a Google sheet. No, this is not a Google sheet. This is yes, this is a Google sheet that you guys can download. So, for example, this is progression and difficulty, and this is kind of like s- giving you a very giving you something that you can actually fill in. So, enter the game name. This is what you guys, and I'm talking to Spartans, especially of the alpha batch. And this is what you guys need to do. You enter your game name, dimensionality, genre, perspective, platform, gameplay overview, insert a mockup, insert your game mechanics here, insert your in-game rewards, insert your difficulty levers. Next is a story and narrative. So this is where you guys will have to write the story of your game, what is the mission of your game, what is the player motivation of your game. So you fill in here, and then you can transfer it to another game design document. But this is where you fill in after watching each video. Here, let me just zoom in a little bit more. So this is where you're talking about your character, you're talking about the protagonist of your game, the personality of a protagonist, the story of a protagonist's life, and all the details about your protagonist. And this is the antagonist. Similarly, right? You have game world. Now, when you start describing your game world, you'll be talking about great detail of your game world over here. What is the spatiality of your game, the scale of objects, the culture of the game world, the level design. Similarly, user interface, etc., etc., etc. So this is the sheet that you guys that you have to fill in, and um, when you guys are filling this in, you can't just fill in from your. How to fill in these sheets, how to design is going to be taught to you by the videos that you're going to watch in the online modules and through the Zoom classes. So fundamentally, this is how you guys in Gamer to Maker are going to be building your game design document. And once your game design document is done, I'm going to actually have a look at it, and I'm going to be advising you on scope, etc. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's pretty much. I think it's about 10 minutes past 4. So I think what we'll do right now is we'll take some questions, right? Also guys, I wanted to tell you, so there is a new game design batch launching right now. This is the Delta batch. So um essentially what's going to happen is that this is the last batch at the price of 29,999. Okay, the price from the next batch is going to go up considerably. This is the last batch, which is going to be at the present price of 30K. And it's going to I'm opening it up tomorrow, and it's going to be open only for 48 hours, guys. So if anybody wants to join um the batch, you can just ping me on Discord, and you guys are most welcome to join. Remember, it's open for 48 hours after this live ends, and also it's the last batch at 29.99, right? So just wanted to put that out there, and now I'm going to actually take some questions. Okay, so I think this Scorpion Gaming is Meg. Sure, I'll talk about my experience a little bit at the end. Shravan asking, can there be various ideas in a concept document? Um, one concept document has one game idea, right? If you have another game idea, you come up with another game concept document, right? That's just the way it works. One game idea, one concept documents, right? Um, the game is not divided into three stages. No, one concept document, one game idea. Okay. um right. Writing a GDD comes with a storyline of game. Yes, it does. Definitely put the game. See, I'll tell you one common mistake which everybody makes, guys, is talking too much about the story. If you guys are going to make a simple game, right, don't worry about the story too much, right? Story, making narrative, etc., for a game, making a narrative heavy game is something which is very, very high in scope. What I advise people, especially in Gamer to Make, is that don't worry too much about story. Come up with a game idea, come up with a concept, and just at the end put a little bit of a dusting of narrative on top of it, right? I'm not saying narrative is not important, but creating a game from narrative first and then game mechanics after that is super, super hard. And in the beginning, don't do that. Just come up with a game idea, come up with the game mechanics, and then put a light skin of story on top of that. Okay. So the final GDD is the culmination of all the ideas, best of all the worlds. No, so the way it happens, it's a very cool process. What happens is that everyone pitches an idea, right? Everyone pitches an idea, everyone comes up with their ideas, and then you have to pitch it, right? You have to actually put your ideas out there for the entire community, for the entire batch, and then you have to be good. Your idea has to be good. You have to pitch it well. You have to learn presentation skills. You have to be concise. You can't just like go on and on. I give you a very short time. I give you like 1 or 2 minutes, and then at the end of that, there is a vote. Of course, I also have a say because I want the project to be well scoped. So ultimately, 1 or 2 or 3 games are chosen, and then those are made in teams in Gamer to Maker, right? Abhinav is asking, how about game mechanics that are carried and enhance the narrative and vice versa? Yes, absolutely. But game mechanics and narrative do go together. But putting too much narrative focus on a game which is being made in about 6 months is going to be very difficult, right? You need to have a simple narrative. It needs to be, it can't be complicated. It needs to be comparatively simple. The focus is going to be on mechanics. There's definitely going to be some integration narrative, but it cannot be too much. Like, you cannot have an epic narrative, an epic story in that particular game, right? So game mechanics is a whole different world. It's I can't really explain game mechanics right now. Okay. All right, guys. So I think we are almost at the end of it. If you guys have more questions, if you guys have questions about the course or anything, ping me on Discord, join Discord. So I'm gonna let me put another banner over here. Right. So, guys, make sure that you join the Gamer to Make a Discord server. The link is in the description of this video. Okay. And for all the Spartans here, for especially the Spartans of the Alpha batch, guys, I want to see your game design documents this month. Your deadline is end of this month, so at least you should have your game design documents ready by the end of this month. They don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be beautiful, but please make sure that your game design documents are ready. Ping me on Discord, send me the links, so I'm going to have a look. I think one team, I think it was team. Oh yeah, by the way, let me actually show you guys that. Let me show you that. That's It's pretty cool. Let me see if I can share my Discord screen and show you what we guys and show you the game teams. So if you see here, this is the Gamer to Make a Discord server, and most of you can't see. Like these are the specific batches for the for all the batches. This is Centaur. We have some batches over here. These are their. So we have several games right now in progress. This is Tale of Honor. So Tale of Honor. This is basically where everyone hangs out. This is Arise the game. So Arise the game is being made by the Origins batch, and this is where we hang out. This is the build feedback for the current build, where we talk about what the build is. And this is another game which is being built called Greedy Goblin. It's a pretty cool game, and as you can see, some of the art. This is actually a pixel art game, and this is a scary looking spider. That's one of the enemies. Let's look at this. What's this? Okay. Oh, that's the goblin. Let's check this out. That's cool. Oh, someone actually made a character. That's nice. I like that. So yeah, this is basically where the game team hangs out. This is where we have meetings, and this is of course Hunt for Atlantis, which is another game. They're talking about stuff. They're sharing references for the game. The concept art is in progress. These are some references for what is the reference for? References for special attack, health drops, ammo system. So this is how it's done, right? You can see these are the voice channels where everyone hangs out. Each game gets its own voice channel. So this is where the people in the this is where the people in the game teams hang out, right? So basically the game team, there are basically two batches, and the next batch is going to be the Bravo batch. They're actually going to be doing their concept document soon. So this is essentially the Gamer to Make a server. This is how where everyone hangs out. This is where we collaborate. It's a lot of fun. It's awesome, and it's really nice to have a team. It's really nice to have people working on a game with you. It's hard work, but it's exciting, right? Um, so yeah, yep. Let's see any more questions. For the Delta batch, it depends, right? I kind of screen people a little bit, and it depends. Not too many. I usually have like maximum 25 odd people, and that's it. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it. Thank you so much for attending this masterclass. And the idea is that I'm going to keep having master classes. Most of the master classes are going to be for Gamer to Maker. Oh yeah, in fact, let me show you some of the master classes that we have in the course. You guys might find them interesting. Oh no, it's not this course. Oh yeah, might as well show you the courses while we are here. So essentially, these are all the courses we have. Let me share my screen. Let me share again. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see my. So these are all the courses. And over here you have the live class library for. So whenever you join the Gamer to Make a course, you have the class library, which is basically all the master classes. So here you get access to all. Okay. So you get access to all the master classes. As you can see, hero's journey, operant conditioning, marketing discoverability, how to work with people, project management, level design. And each batch has all their classes actually recorded over here. So if you miss a class, so for example, this is Centurion batch, you can see have all the classes of the Centurion batch, which are over here. So if you miss anything, you can just kind of go in and you can watch it here. This is the Bravo, and these are all the classes of the Bravo batch. You can kind of go, you can watch live classes as well. So just wanted to kind of show you guys that stuff. Okay. All right, guys. So I guess that's gonna be it. Any more questions? Okay, so my first job in India, it was as a game designer. It was as a game designer at Gameloft, and we were making game for the Nintendo DS, and it was crazy. It was fun. We made a dating game. We made a rip off of Pokemon. It was like we made 2 or 3 games. It was really nice. Guys, if you have any questions, like I said, ping me directly on Discord, and I'd be happy to answer your questions about timings, price, batch, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so let me know. So thank you guys so much for being on this masterclass. So good to see you. And for the Bravo batch, um, I want your game design document ready at the end of the month. We'll have meetings soon. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you on Discord. I will see you on YouTube. So once again, make sure you follow me on Instagram and you're on the Discord server. And you subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be posting a lot more videos, guys. So thank you. Enjoy your week. Have a good night.